Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Happy Friday. The weekend is just about here, and I'm still recovering from that awesome direct yesterday and all my screaming. That was the most fun I've had in a long time, and I'm so glad we got to share it together. But that doesn't mean that the fun has to stop, because today's show is jam-packed, and I'm sending you straight to your weekend break with a lot of good stuff, including more new game announcements, a new physical Zelda Switch game, sort of, and a bunch of follow-ups and further information and details on what's still to come for Switch in the rumor and leak department. So what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Smash that like button and let me know your take in the comments down below. I hope you're all doing lovely, and if it's your first time here, you arrived at the, I think someone just arrived at my house. Is it you? You're here, you arrived, new subscriber? Whoa! I promise I didn't plan that. That was freaking insane. What I meant to say was you've arrived at a great time because the direct just happened and we're about to enter the holiday season and it's gonna be great, so make sure to subscribe, turn your notification bell on. That was really weird. But let's roll straight into our first news bite, which is Animal Crossing doing even more than what they showed at the direct. It was a huge victory for AC&H fans to realize the game will go on, and they're bringing a big direct in October to reveal more. But after the direct, they said, hey, we also have Amiibo cards Series 5, and we'll share more details soon. Now, I called this months ago because there was a leaked / data mine of Nintendo's Amiibo numbering, and there was a huge gap of over 100 Amiibo. And what else could that be besides an Amiibo card set? And voila, here you go. I'm sure they'll confirm the release date and what's inside at that October AC Direct, and hopefully we get a date for that presentation sometime very soon. Quick hello from my friends at Lexar. They are the best in the memory card business for Switch. Their Play card comes in a bunch of sizes, and if you get the 1 terabyte, you'll never have to worry about memory again. I got the 1 terabyte in my Switch, and it holds everything and still have so much space for 2022 and probably 2023 and maybe even 2024. So they're great people over there. I love their products. They work so fast and so well and so reliably. Make sure to click the link in the description down below to check them out. It helps support the channel, and it is a pretty sweet thing. Now, some games didn't make the big show, but they got announced today, and one of those is Blossom Tales 2, which is coming at you in 2022. Now, this is an awesome indie, and I highlight it because the elevator pitch is The Legend of Zelda Link to the Past meets A Princess Bride, which is pretty freaking sweet sounding. The first game was also very well received. It got an 80 on Metacritic, and it's a very beautiful title with poppin' SNES style graphics and that old school Zelda top-down gameplay. It'll be out sometime next year and adds another one to watch for in a year that is going to be insane. Like, if you thought 2021 was difficult with a lot of good games and knowing where to allocate your money, 2022 is going to bring what I like to call green pain. Your cash is going to be strapped because there's so much to play already. And that's not even accounting for the surprises, the late reveals, and the things that we don't yet know about. The lineup for Switch is just bonkers. We'll have to do like a full video covering everything announced for 2022, but there's already like 25 games that I need to buy, and it's not even October of the previous year. Like, what the heck? So let me know in the comments down below if you're gonna pick up some Series 5 Amiibo cards, or if you're interested in Blossom Tales Dose. Now, something that was super overlooked in yesterday's Nintendo Direct was the inclusion of Microsoft. You probably missed it. Between all the hype for new 3D Kirby and Miyamoto on screen and Bayonetta 3 and Splatoon 3, did you know Microsoft was a part of this show? They were in a really cool, subtle way, because Banjo-Kazooie is back on a Nintendo console. And yes, that was originally an N64 game, but it's very important because they had to deal with Microsoft to make this happen. Microsoft had to give the okay because Microsoft owns Rare, and BK is a Rare property. Now, this is bigger than just Banjo-Kazooie because it bodes very well for the new NSO classic consoles. It seems like Nintendo is really gonna try hard to get a bunch of games on the N64 and Genesis systems to incentivize that expansion pack tier. Now, with Banjo-Kazooie, we could expect, in theory, Banjo-Kazooie 2, hopefully Diddy Kong Racing, and maybe more titles that didn't make it to Virtual Console in the past. Emily Rogers, that very reputable insider who said a lot that's been featured on this show, went to Twitter and said N64 and NSO will have a much stronger library than N64 Virtual Console. And she mentioned that Nintendo is really trying to work to get a bunch of games on there, and said she's even heard tiny whispers about Pokemon Stadium, a game that never came out in any VC, making its way to Switch, which would be super sweet because I have lots of great memories of seeing those Pokemon on my big TV for the first time, battling out with my brother, and then putting my level 100 Pikachu on and just wrecking absolute havoc. Also a level 100 Dodrio, also a level 100 Blastoise. You get the drift. It was just level 100s against level 100s, mass chaos, kablam. And it sounds like Nintendo and Sega are teaming up to try to do the same with third parties on Genesis, bringing Konami and Capcom games to the platform that you might not expect there. All in all, it seems like they're finally pushing significant efforts towards making magic happen for their back catalog. I just hope the price of that extra tier ain't too much. And we don't know yet what it will be, but I'm hoping for a $5 to $10 upcharge, and I actually hope there's more in store than what they showed. And if you're worried about Game Boy and Game Boy Color and where those are at, Emily Rogers says those are still coming, though she does not give a set date as to when, and I wonder if those are going to be detailed at that October presentation about the expansion pack tier, or if they're saving them for next year. I don't know. I hope that we find out soon and they give us dates on when all this is coming, what it's gonna cost, but it is looking really positive and it's looking really exciting for those of you that have favorite third-party titles, even from Rare, who's owned by Microsoft, Nintendo and Microsoft doing the handshake once again. And even if Xbox doesn't want to put Game Pass or really many of their properties on Switch anymore, Phil Spencer said they're kind of done, at least we know the companies are still on good enough terms to get some of those subtle entries back on a Nintendo system. Now, interestingly, to wrap up the Emily Rogers segment of the show, she also says there's still a lot of 2021 games that have yet to be shown. Now, she doesn't specify if this is Nintendo or other platforms, but Emily Rogers is a Nintendo-focused insider, so I expect she means for Nintendo Switch. And it seems like it leans third-party because she says cough, GTA Remastered Trilogy, cough, and that one we've heard rumored, and I thought would be showcased yesterday. It was not, and neither was Resident Evil Outrage, and neither was the rumored Mass Effect Legendary Edition, and neither were a lot of third-party titles that we've seen pop up on ratings boards, so it seems like there's still gonna be more in store for Switch that is gonna release really soon. If the calendar wasn't crazy enough already, you got more. I expect these things to show up as part of Twitter drops. I don't think we'll get a partner showcase or a mini direct because Nintendo typically closes up shop on that front around this time, but hey, never say never, although I do think we are gonna see some really cool stuff, hopefully at TGS, the Video Game Awards, and just randomly on YouTube videos or Twitter, so keep your ears and eyes peeled. You know I got you covered. As soon as GTA or whatever else gets announced, I'll be there and I'll let you know, but that's also exciting because I thought yesterday was kind of like the final hurrah for 2021, but to know that there's still more that's still coming out, whew, I am stoked. And I was looking at the indie release calendar. There's still a bunch of games scheduled for 2021, like Sports Story and Card Shark, that I'm extra excited for. I forgot Ollie Ollie World was out in December. Plus, Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon is also still due for this holiday season, and I've been really excited for that one. I think the genre bending there looks real nifty, and I will be buying that day one as soon as it drops. Let me know in the comments down below if there's anything you still hope comes in 2021, and if any of the games I mentioned pique your interest and you want to play them. Now, for all the good Nintendo has done this year, I think there's one place where they really missed the mark, where they really dropped the ball. And that would be in celebrating and honoring the Legend of Zelda 35th anniversary. I mean, it's not even still Mario's anniversary, and we still get cool Mario stuff like the Mario movie and all the great actors. Zelda, on the other hand, saw very little. Yeah, the Skyward Sword HD port was quite great, and the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer was awe-inspiring, but that Game & Watch isn't really what I'd call an appropriate present for Link and Zelda and Ganon. But have no fear, Nintendo of Japan is here, and in their Direct, which sometimes has some different beats as opposed to what we see over here in the West, they put forth a new Legend of Zelda game for Switch. Kind of. They announced that there's going to be a new Zelda cart available on store shelves October 8th, and it's going to be a Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild plus expansion pass combo pack. So it'll include the Master Trials and Champion's Ballad. But the weird part here is that it's really expensive. It translates to about $80 US, and that's not really the direction I'd like to see Nintendo go with their first Switch game. Like, yeah, it's great to have like a Game of the Year edition, although it's kind of like 4 or 5 years late. And they're also doing this with Splatoon 2, packing in the Octo expansion and releasing that one similarly on October 8th. But this brings up an interesting conversation in my eyes, because where are the Switch Selects? Nintendo previously used the Selects line on Wii and Wii U and 3DS to highlight their biggest games from before. And they would bring them out at $20 so that players that were new to the ecosystem, new 3DS owners, new Wii owners, they could get in on some of the games that were great in the early years. They put stuff like Super Mario Galaxy 2 on Wii Selects and Pikmin 3 on Wii U Selects, and they put The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D on 3DS Selects, and it was a super good lineup, cream of the crop. Nintendo's done nothing of the sort for Switch, and even though I do applaud them for often putting their main games on sale, it's never down to $20. Games in general are getting more expensive. We see PlayStation and Xbox using the $70 tag nowadays. Nintendo ain't gone that far, but they also aren't discounting games that came out literally 4.5 years ago. Breath of the Wild getting a new version with DLC is fun and all, but for $80, that's no discount. And Breath of the Wild itself has seen quite a few sales since launch, some putting it as low as like $40. I would have loved to see this come in at the $40 tier, and I'd even be okay with a Selects line coming in at $39.99. I just think some of these games really should drop the price down, and Nintendo is taking their time with a very capitalistic focus to not debut any sort of Switch Selects line, and at this point, I don't know that they will. If after 5 years you don't feel the need to put your games for a cheaper price, why would you? It's business savvy, but it's also a bit of a bummer because that was, like I said, a great way for new console owners to get in on earlier action. And with the OLED around the corner, plenty of people will probably be new to our Switch family and they're gonna have to spend hundreds of dollars to experience all the great games. There's like too many to play as is, and there's no way you can spend $1,000 on all those Switch carts to get in on Luigi's Mansion 3 and Fire Emblem 3 Houses and Mario Odyssey and Splatoon 2 and Mario plus Rabbids and Zelda and Smash Bros and Astral Chain. Like, it's just overwhelming. And so I would really love to see Nintendo reverse course on this, and instead of presenting us with more expensive versions of old games, maybe just bring us some cheaper versions of your titles that have sold so many copies. Like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has sold 40 million. Do they really still need to charge $60 for a game that originally arrived 8 years ago? Oh. But to wrap this up, those re-releases of Breath of the Wild and Splatoon 2 are currently Japan only, and I'm interested to see if they do come stateside, or if Nintendo does the right thing and brings us a Selects line. That's what I'd like to see imported over here, but it also would be kind of neat to see that box art because I think they did a good job with the box art. I won't buy it just for the box art, that would be insane, but maybe I can like print out the box art or something, or like shift it into my Zelda Breath of the Wild case. I don't know, it's just a cool cover and I already have the DLC, so I don't need it, but I thought it was fascinating that that's what they decided to do, and I'll keep you posted if those do come to the United States or to Europe or anywhere in the West. Right now, they're exclusive to Japan and they're out in just a couple of weeks, probably to pair with the OLED launch to sell to those new buyers and get more money from them instead of offering a discount. Let me know your take on these revised Zelda and Splatoon 2 cartridges, as well as Switch Selects. Is that something you'd like to see? And what game would you love to get for a cheaper price point? We close the week with a poll like we always do, and I'm so glad to see that most of you enjoyed the Direct. I asked you what grade you give yesterday's showcase, and 52% said B. It's pretty good. 30% said A, and I wavered between a B plus, A minus, but I had so much fun, and a day later I still feel great about the show, so I gave it an A. 13% said C, and only 5% said D, which is pretty great. It was mostly universally loved and right on. They did do a lot of cool stuff, and we'll be back with more cool stuff next week when Good Morning Mario returns on Monday. I got videos coming at you this weekend, so check those out. Turn your notification bell on, hit that like button, and until next time, everybody, thanks for sharing a wonderful week with me. I appreciate all of you. I love you so much. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. SwitchForce out.